morning. Good morning, all. Welcome to day 3 of Microsoft Ignite. Welcome to Seattle, and I know you've been here for a few days with us. I just want to thank you for taking the time to hang out at Ignite. Just a little introduction about myself. My name is Mayank Verma, and I'm a senior director in the Teams and Platform organization focusing on frontline. I'm really excited to be here today to talk about the innovations we're bringing in the frontline worker technology within Microsoft Teams. Before we get started off, something a little different in this session. So I believe you should all have a QR code. If you can scan that QR code, you have an opportunity to win a ticket to the Microsoft 365 conference in Orlando. So make sure that you do that. We'll be announcing the winners before we end the conference, so make sure that you're sticking around, because it will happen right at the end, and I'll make that announcement once we are done. All right, so to get started off, in this session today, I will talk about how Microsoft plans to empower the 2.7 billion frontline workers across the planet. Frontline workers are about 80% of the global workforce. I know that the customers here today are from a number of industries. No matter if you're from retail, healthcare, manufacturing, airlines, frontline workers are the majority of your workforce. But they face some pretty critical challenges today, especially with labor shortages and supply chain issues. There's a lot of pressure on this workforce to actually deliver more, but with the same consistent quality. Today, I'll talk about how the work is changing for the frontline. We will then talk about some new capabilities that we will show in Microsoft Teams, Microsoft Copilot, and Dynamics 365 to help you get there. Finally, I'll invite our inspiring customer, American Airlines, to come and join us on stage to share about their journey with the frontline transformation at American Airlines. Now, through our Ignite, we have spoken about the digital debt that is being faced by the information workers. This digital debt being faced by the information workers is driven by an influx of emails, online meetings, and messages. That really takes away a lot from them to get their work done. But for the frontline, they're dealing with very different types of challenges. They are faced with siloed information driven by paper-based processes, legacy systems, and a range of devices that they have to use to get their jobs done. We call this the digital deficit at the frontline. In fact, data from the Work Trends Index shows that over 60% of the frontline workers are struggling to do their regular tasks and are really consuming a lot of their time to get tedious work done. This really takes away time from the frontline workers to get quality work done, such as providing meaningful customer service or efficiently completing a task that they are supposed to be done. This digital deficit also leads to a proliferation of shadow IT. In many organizations across the world, frontline workers are leaning to consumer apps to get their work done. While this might be good for them, it's not really good for you, for the organization. It puts the organization at risk, because you now have to have no control over the data, whether it's business data or employee information, that is now being exposed by this shadow IT pickup within your frontline workforce. Additionally, it also creates pressure for IT to actually secure and manage the frontline solutions. So finally, when you combine this digital deficit with the labor shortages happening in the workforce, it is no surprise that 1 in 2 frontline workers are citing that they're being burnt out in their jobs. Now, that's a big problem. Business leaders have an opportunity today to actually invest in technology for their entire workforce. Whether it's your knowledge workers, information workers, or your frontline, you've got to treat all of them equal and really try to change the productivity for your entire organization, whether it's the business process, whether it's the frontline worker productivity, finally leading to retention and ultimately a lot of profitability for your organization if you do that right. Now, a key part of this transformation is really helping to bring next-generation AI to your frontline workforce. I know that a lot of workers are concerned about what AI will do to their jobs. But based on our own research, what we found out that about 65% of the frontline workers are quite optimistic on what AI does to their job. They find AI helpful to actually solve for problems such as finding information, optimizing for their tasks, or really streamlining their shift scheduling process. So there's real opportunity for transformation at the front line and we at Microsoft are here to help. That's why we worked really hard to make Teams to be the workplace for all your workers. We have created a foundation in Teams of communication that applies to all your workers, be it capabilities like chats, calling, and so much more. But Teams is so much more than a communication and collaboration platform. We've invested in Microsoft Teams to create frontline-specific applications, such as a simplified home screen, shift and task management, as well as push-to-talk communication for frontline workers to get their jobs done the way they like to do it. And all of this is natively available within Teams. And in fact, many of you agree. Over the last year, we've seen double-digit growth in the frontline worker usage within Microsoft Teams. Additionally, over 60% of the Fortune 500s are empowering their frontline workers with the expanded Microsoft 365 solution. Now, customers are at the center of everything we do at Microsoft and how we innovate for the frontline worker technology. Let's take a look at how Conagra is empowering their frontline workers. Let's roll the video.
Conagra Brands has iconic brands like Chef Boyardee, Slim Jim, Reddi-wip, Marie Callender, our largest business being Bird's Eye Vegetables, brands that fit every lifestyle and every dietary need. Our workforce is very diverse. We have roles that range from forklift operators, all your technical roles, controls engineers, all the way through senior leadership.
We have approximately 1,000 employees that work here at our Council Bluffs, Iowa facility. They do everything from cooking our wonderful sauces to making our meals, freezing them, and getting them ready to transport to our warehouses and ultimately our customers.
We have over 20 different languages spoken in many of our sites, and our ability to communicate with those folks effectively is critical to our success. We're always looking for ways to leverage technology to enhance that communication. We're using Microsoft Teams to communicate throughout the facility, to document photos, to do live chats, to remote people into the site for help.
Our frontline workers now have the ability to enter tasks in Teams, to assign a task and track it. It helps us with what might otherwise get lost in translation and get the right resources in the right place at the right time. The beautiful thing about tools like Teams and the Surface Hub is it allows them to take all that new data that they have in near real time and make decisions on it and communicate out with the rest of the facility. We're doing different things here at the site than our competitors are doing right now, and we think that that is helping us attract the right people and giving them opportunities through upskilling to advance their career.
When you have a workforce of 15,000 people with all the diverse backgrounds, there's such an untapped potential, and having a connected workforce enables folks to contribute in ways they never knew was possible. When you can democratize the information, put it in the hands of the folks that are closest to the work, it's amazing what they're able to do.
We're all about removing barriers here at the facility, and Microsoft Teams allows us to do that in a very fast way.
Now, when we look at building the right experience for frontline workers, it needs to be secure, simple, and smart. At the foundation, the frontline experience needs to be secure for frontline workers, no matter what device they use. It needs to be simple. Frontline workers make the most value of their time when they're actually performing customer service and doing a task and not looking at their screens. So they should find all this information in one single spot, really at their fingertips. And to boost their productivity, we need to make sure that we are bringing in the right smart capabilities for these workers directly into the tools that they're using every day. Let's talk about how we are investing to make these experiences secure. We know that when frontline workers start their day across many industries, they do that using shared devices. Using shared devices is a problem for frontline workers because they have to sign into a number of apps that are important for their work. And that creates a complexity for IT as well, because once they are done signing in, you as IT need to make sure that the next worker who takes that shared device has a device configured to themselves with no personal data from the previous worker. So the way we are solving for these problems is by enabling the frontline workers to securely sign in and sign out only once for all their apps using Microsoft Entra ID. We are now excited to expand the solution that we have in market with shared device mode for Entra ID to support iOS, iPadOS, in addition to Android that we already have available in market today. We make it super easy by putting all the right information into the hands of your frontline workers. As I mentioned, a common pain point that we are aware of is for the frontline workers to have all the information in a very simplified dashboard view at their fingertips. The way we are solving for this problem is by delivering a simplified home experience in Teams for your frontline workers. It is designed ground up at Microsoft for the frontline worker experience, and it is available in Teams today. If you look at this view right now, and we're going to show a demo today on what this experience looks like, we are bringing in all the relevant applications, whether it's shift information, task information, right into a simplified dashboard view. It's very different from the Teams UI that you're using on your mobile device today. Finally, how do we make the frontline workers work smart? We know that there are challenges around time-consuming tasks, such as shift scheduling and assigning work orders. Also, across all workforces, many workers are using ChatGPT today to find information and get their jobs done. But if your workers continue using these consumer apps, that does put your information at risk. So we are excited to offer you Microsoft Copilot, which is an AI-powered web chat with commercial data protection for your frontline workers, starting with the Microsoft 365 F3 licenses starting in December. Now they can use this Gen AI tool to quickly find information to answer complex questions while keeping your business and customer data protected. We are also up-leveling your manager's experience by bringing intelligence right into the tools that they're using every day. Now, this intelligence is combined with the data, which is important for your managers. Managers will be able to pull schedule information, such as open shifts, using Microsoft Shifts plugin for Copilot for Microsoft 365. And this is all going to be accessible right within Teams. Finally, to streamline the process of finding information and assigning work, we are enabling managers to ask questions from Copilot for Microsoft 365 on work orders with the Dynamics 365 Field Service plugin. Now they can pull data such as status updates, instructions, and parts needed. We are also excited to bring new Copilot capabilities for intelligent work order scheduling with the Dynamics 365 Field Service app and Teams. I'd now like to welcome my colleague Zoe to join me on stage to show you how we make Microsoft Teams a secure, simple, and smart workplace for both your frontline managers as well as your frontline workers.
Thanks, Mayank, and hi, everyone. Like Mayank said, we know many of your frontline workers start their day by going into a back room and picking up a shared device. They want that device completely wiped of all the information from the person before them, as well as the information they themselves put in when they're done with their shift. With shared device mode, it's as easy as 2 clicks to log in and then log out of all supported apps. Let's take a look. So, as a frontline worker, I want to log into Microsoft Teams to start my day. I do the usual login experience, adding my username, and then my password. Now, it will bring me into the Teams experience solely for me, so I can get started. But I also know I work across many apps, and I want to go into Outlook without having to log in again. Shared device mode recognizes me, authenticates me, syncs my privacy settings, and then again logs me in to the Outlook solely for me. And when I'm ready to log out, all I need to do is log out of one of the applications in order to sign out across all the supported apps I was in for that device and make it compliant for the next user. It's that easy to make your devices secure, but also your frontline workers productive from the moment they pick up the device. Well, let's take a look at the Teams experience that we saw Alex log into real quick. The first thing that you may notice is that this Teams experience is not like the one that you and I see. And that's because we have built a default out-of-the-box experience solely with your frontline workers in mind. Because we've heard from you all that they don't work like you and I. Or maybe it's just me. I sit in back-to-back meetings, making PowerPoints. But instead, Your frontline workers sit in shift schedules and complete tasks in order to drive your business forward and deliver great customer service. So we've changed this entire experience to be default for them. At the bottom, you can see new and different apps pinned, and throughout the entire home experience, you can see specific experiences pinned to that home dashboard. All of this to make the information simple so that your workers have the right information, resources, and people to make their job a little easier. Let's go and check it out a little more. The first thing you'll notice is that there's a banner at the top signifying there's a sale day. Your frontline worker can click in to get more details on that specific communication for them. That way, they never miss a beat in terms of what is the most important thing for them to know that day. Next, they want to look at their shift. They can click in to see all the details of their shift. They can tap to see who are the other folks on that shift with them. And if this shift is occurring in the future, they can easily swap or offer that shift with another coworker without putting their frontline manager in the middle. Finally, maybe your frontline workers complete work orders using Dynamics 365 Field Service. Today, they can see all of the assigned work orders right inside that home experience. They can also click in to actually perform the work without ever having to leave that home screen. And all of the data is synced between Teams and Dynamics. We have other experiences pinned to your frontline workers' home dashboard. Components like maybe some top news that they want to know, maybe some recognition, even an important document. Well, today, we've heard from you all that you are not a one-size-fits-all type of customer. So this entire home screen and the solution is completely configurable to your needs. Another component that we've heard from you all that is quite a challenge is reaching your frontline workers. We know it can be difficult to get communications to them, whether that be the operational communications we just saw with the sale day, or corporate communications, or even community activities. One click away, they can see an entire feed consolidated with all the news they need to know, and they can easily interact. One more click away are all the resources that they need to do their job. This single home experience helps your frontline workers be connected to the right information and the right processes to do their work. Now, let me show you how it can also help them connect to the right people on their teams. With Walkie-Talkie in Microsoft Teams, they have an easy push-to-talk experience so they can communicate with their team on the ground. They simply hold and communicate and can see other folks on their team communicating back. They can even click in to see who else is in there with them. Now, all of these solutions in the home experience, they are here to help your frontline workers spend less time on finding information, people, and completing those processes, and more time delivering exceptional customer quality. So let's imagine your frontline worker is maybe on the retail floor, and a customer comes up and asks them about the benefits of a product you're selling. Or even, maybe a coworker is asking on behalf of a customer. Now, usually, your frontline worker has to rely on their own base knowledge of the product. Maybe they do a really quick web search to see what they can find, or they even throw it into ChatGPT to try to help them answer it quickly. Well, now, they can easily ask Microsoft Copilot with commercial data protection. And no matter what your worker's search is, you will know that that business data is protected. With commercial data protection, your frontline workers can make smart requests knowing that confidential data stays private and is not being used to train the AI model. And your frontline worker gets exceptional responses to go back to your customer and bring the best of your product forward for them. Now, these new capabilities, they're just a few examples of what we are developing to digitally transform your frontline workers. And you may be thinking, I think you forgot one important group. But I haven't yet. Your frontline managers. We know, and we've heard from you all, that frontline managers are often the glue between central operations and your frontline teams. And they are essential to running your business, but often get pulled in many directions in order to successfully help their team. Well, let's see what we can do to help them. Like your frontline worker, your frontline manager wants a simplified home experience so they can focus on exactly what they need to do that day. One thing they need to do is actually create a new announcement that just came in from their operational team around a new safety policy going into an act. Now, usually, your frontline manager, in order to make sure everyone sees that comms, they need to start writing emails and blasting it out, or even printing out a piece of paper and pinning it in the back office, all with the hope that your frontline teams will see it. Now, your frontline managers don't even need to leave their home screen in order to create announcements. They simply add the title. Oops. They add a message. In this case, making sure your frontline knows those quick details. They add their audience. In this case, they want to target their specific location here in Seattle. Since the policy is going into act tomorrow, they want it to go live then and early in the morning so no one misses it. And they want to add a link in case someone needs to learn more and go into the handbook. They quickly review it and schedule the announcement. And now they can see all their announcements coming for the team, both announcements that have occurred in the past, ones scheduled in the present, and things scheduled for the future. This will show up in that same home experience that we saw with frontline workers, pinned at the top of their experience. And whether done at a local level or at a regional level, Teams helps you target your frontline workers so they have the right communications from the moment they pick up the device. Another important component of communication is chatting. We know your frontline managers need to be able to easily connect. Now, I won't go too far into this because we all, I think, are familiar with chatting, but it helps to decide how your frontline managers communicate together. In this case, they're talking about fluctuation in customer demand. Now, based on that information, your frontline manager often wants to take an action. Maybe they want to see how many shift schedules they have out there, how many work orders they need to assign. Usually, your frontline manager now has to hop between many different systems in order to find the right information. Today, they can use Microsoft Copilot for Microsoft 365 pinned in their Teams channel to find information as easily as chatting with their colleague. So their first question was, how many open shifts do I have today? They can ask Copilot, and it will pull from the Shifts plugin to deliver the relevant data to your managers. Now they're curious about what are the unscheduled work orders they have, and can they put it in a table so it's more easily digestible? Now this pulls from the Dynamics 365 Field Service plugin to again deliver all that information in a simplified way. This chatting experience allows your frontline managers to find all the information they need without leaving the communication tools they use every day. Now, maybe your manager wants to take an action, and they're curious about the security camera work order. They navigate to the Field Service app in Microsoft Teams. They search for that work order. As you can see, Copilot identified it as unscheduled, as we see here, and it's actually high priority, which means they want to schedule it as soon as possible. Now, normally this is when your frontline manager starts hopping between multiple systems. We've heard it can take anywhere from 20 clicks to find the right person for this work order. Today, with Copilot, they get intelligent work order scheduling right inside Microsoft Teams. They easily get recommendations on who the right person could be based on different attributes like time, availability, skill set, and more, and quickly can identify the right person. In this case, your frontline manager agrees with Copilot that Alex is the right person. Now, this entire optimized experience helps your frontline managers quickly create a plan. But we all know that many things can change on the front line. There can be changes like weather anomalies that can increase customer demand beyond anticipation. And if your frontline manager wants to increase capacity in their schedule, they need to quickly log in and make sure that they have the right people on the job. They can go into shifts in Microsoft Teams, see the open shifts that they have, which would allow the folks on their team to pick up the shifts that work for them, and they can easily create or copy it across their schedule. And as requests come in, they can easily see who has requested it here or in the Request tab. Now, we've shown you a lot of innovation today, and we continue to develop to drive one main thing for your frontline workers: time. Time for them to deliver great customer service to your team, time for them to create a sense of community on your front line, and time to help your frontline managers and workers reduce their burnout by focusing on meaningful work. Now, with that, I'll hand it back to Mayank.
Thank you, Zoe. Thank you, Zoe. We've shown you a lot of end-user innovation for frontline workers as well as for frontline managers. But at Microsoft, we are also committed to making it easier for you to deploy and manage teams for your frontline workers. Given the large size of this workforce and the complexity with the labor shortages and the frequent turnover, it is important to make sure that IT admins have the right tools to deploy and manage frontline workers easily. So we've added new capabilities to provision frontline worker accounts as well as the teams, so that group membership can be kept automatically up to date as frontline workers leave and join the workforce. I'm excited to have Tulsi come up on stage to show us a demo of some of these capabilities.
Thank you, Mayank. Hello, everyone. Today, we are going to talk about all the innovation that we have done to simplify the admin experiences so that teams can be deployed in a few quick steps. And we want this to address the challenges that you have all faced as frontline admins. Now, you know that there is a fundamental need for frontline workers to collaborate with each other in real time at the same location, be it a factory floor, a hospital, or a retail store. We have, in terms of deployment, what this means is that each such location maps really well to a team's team, with the departments at that specific location mapping to the channels under that team's team. Now, we have streamlined the admin experiences and automated what used to take weeks to create: a location-based team structure that maps your frontline workers' physical world to their digital world. Let's take a look. We have created a brand new section in the Teams Admin Center called Manage Frontline Teams. You can get started with your Teams deployment by setting up your deployment settings. To begin, you can identify the Entra attribute. In this case, we are using job title to determine which frontline workers you want to deploy teams for. In this case, I have decided to set this up for field technicians. So let's get started with them. Now, the way this works is the frontline workers are going to be put in a single group based on the location attribute that you choose. So in this case, let's choose city as our location attribute. So all your field technicians in the city are going to be put on a single group. Next, you choose a Teams template to create a consistent structure for all the frontline teams that you're about to deploy. Previously, you did not have a way to standardize your team structure, and therefore you could not enable experiences that required central orchestration, such as targeting communications in a uniform manner to multiple teams at the same time. But now we have made it straightforward to do that by allowing you to map these teams and channels to the locations and departments that you're setting up for. You also choose a team owner object ID. And what this does is it allows you to create a team owner. And our recommendation here is to use a service account. This way, two things happen. One, you don't have to have a single person managing a large number of teams. And two, you can reduce the risk of accidentally modifying the team structure because it's a person who's handling it. Once you have set up your deployment settings, you are ready to deploy. Now, you can take a quick look to verify the accuracy of the settings that you just selected, so that as you're rolling out to your frontline workers at scale, you know exactly what is going to be set up. You can pick the set of locations for which you want to deploy. Let's say, in this case, you have already conducted a pilot, and now you're ready for scale deployment. So you can choose all of these 100 locations that are ready to be set up. And now, as you click deploy, you can set up these 100 teams in a few clicks. Previously, this used to require writing custom scripts. It used to take weeks. Now your frontline workers can start collaborating immediately as these teams get set up. There you go. You have 100 frontline teams. You can validate the output of what just got set up. You can look at the outcomes in the CSV file, where you can get the team IDs of the teams that got set up. As an IT admin, you have easy visibility to all the teams in a central location. As your business grows, you can come back to this Manage Frontline Teams page to keep track of what you have previously set up, add additional locations, and scale your business. Not only that, you can also set up your first-party experiences like schedule management, task management, push-to-talk collaboration, some of these experiences that Zoe demonstrated already earlier. Now, to recap, what I just shared is that we are deeply investing in your experience as an IT admin to simplify Teams deployment and set up a team structure that has several core benefits. First, it enables frontline workers to be productive from the get-go. Second, for an IT admin, it empowers them to centrally manage their frontline locations all in one place in the Teams admin center. And third, it enables dynamic membership to be managed for the teams, which means that as frontline workers onboard, offboard, or change locations, you don't have to keep track of it and update Teams membership. That will be automatically handled for you. With that, I'm going to invite Mayank back. Thank you.
Thanks, Tulsi. We've shown you all how this technology can make your frontline more effective and meaningful in creating work or solving problems for your organization. But what is even more important is to hear from a customer who is using this technology to transform how their frontline operates every day and share their learnings with this group. I'd now like to invite Chai from American Airlines to join me on stage and share their experience with the frontline transformation. Let's roll the video.
We are American Airlines, and we are the world's largest airline. Every day, just in DFW, we have about 700 to 900 flights taking off. From gate agents, flight attendants, pilots, or behind-the-scenes crew, all of them play a key part in getting you to the right destination on time. Collaboration and communication in a timely manner is very, very key.
It's like orchestrating a musical, only more difficult. What we built previously was an application that bridged the gap between the various work groups around the airports. But it had a problem. The key thing that we're looking for is it needs to be faster, cheaper, and better.
ConnectMe is a hybrid microservice tool layered over Teams and the Power Platform. With the new Teams platform, it's actually gotten to 1/4 of the cost. 20 hours before the flight departs, we create a flight channel, and we auto-subscribe everybody who is responsible to get that flight turnaround on time.
There is no end to the type of information that can be passed on.
Let's say you're the customer who has a tight connection. A gate agent could send a message through ConnectMe Teams to say that, hey, this is a tight connection and you need to prioritize these bags or your bags.
We needed a platform that fit into the digital transformation journey that we are embarking on. Teams and Power Apps were perfect for that.
We care for our customers' journey, and time is of the essence. A company like American, this is one of the best things that has happened to us or our frontline.
Well, Chai, welcome. Thanks for spending the time with us at Ignite. We really appreciate your time.
Absolutely.
Well, to get started off, why don't you tell us a little bit about your role at American Airlines and the type of frontline workers you're dealing with?
Well, I'm Chaitanya Kommidi, Managing Director of Crew Technologies, and for the last 13 years, I've been in various roles supporting operations and operations management across multiple airports as well as the airline itself. I've been lucky. We have seen some numbers, right? 2.7 billion employees, frontline employees, which constitutes around 80% of the whole workforce. Those are staggering numbers. But these are not surprising numbers for me, because when I look at the airline and the airport, the personas that you would see is, again, staggering. You talk about flight service, you have baggage handlers, reservation agents, and so on and so forth. But the key thing for a successful operations is how effective your frontline are, and that's what I do at AA.
Awesome, awesome, yeah, thank you. I know you were telling me about the complexity of every airport being so different in the country. So tell us a little bit about the types of technology from Microsoft you're using to transform some of the operations and any business outcomes you're seeing from those.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, we are on Azure. We use a plethora of technology. But what struck my eye today was when you said Teams is simple, secure, and smart, right? I think as a business, as a technologist supporting the business, my key responsibility is to play in that smart role. And what I would like for is the building blocks, for example, in this case, Teams to be simple and secure. So I'll give an example. One of the key things that you heard today was around the communication platform that we needed for the airports. So what we decided at that time is, should we build a communication platform from ground up? Absolutely, we can. We have a technology team, and I lead it. But what we decided at that time, it was smarter for us to focus on the differentiators, not necessarily the non-differentiators. For us, the differentiator was the smarts. So what we did is we used the Teams platform, and what we got is security and simplicity. Then what we did is we focused on the integrations that are needed to make our frontline more successful. And again, it's the same thing if you look at Azure, how we use Azure. Can we build a Microsoft Fabric? Probably, but why should we? We should use the building blocks that are available. Same thing with AKS, same thing with any other things that we use.
It's awesome, yes. Security and simplicity always come first.
Yes.
So I know this room over here, and also folks will be seeing us online. There's a lot of IT admins. So any experiences you can share from your deployment journey?
Oh, I mean, I wrote down 3 advices if I can give, and different personas again, right? I know there are a lot of technologists, there are a lot of non-technologists. So I'll start with the technologists. The advice that I would give, guys, is always look from a business lens. What happens, and I've been a part of it in the sense is as technologists, we get enamored with the new technology and we want to do the right thing for our business, but unless we put our lens of the business in terms of ROI, we will not get the buy-in. An upgrade is not a transformation. And for the folks who are business folks as well here, my advice to you guys is, again, the same thing. Don't be enamored by technology. Look at the business processes that you want to make a step change. And the second one is change management. Zoe and Tulsi did an awesome presentation on how you can transform your frontline. But the key thing for all of us, this is for the technologists as well as the business folks, it's all about change management. You have to tell your frontline why and the what it's going to help them. It's all about them. And the last one is for Microsoft, and this is for the non-Microsoft folks. Build your partnerships with Microsoft. Build your partnerships with your engineers. Make sure that you understand what you're getting into in terms of Azure, right? Azure is awesome. We got to build your fault-tolerant systems, but understand the building blocks. If you're using Teams or Power Apps or others, understand. And I would say your best friend is your Microsoft customer success manager or your salesperson or the engineer.
Awesome, awesome. Thank you, Chai, for sharing the experience with us. Thank you so much for joining us at Ignite. At the end of the day, it is about empowering every worker in your organization, especially the frontline workers that have been largely underserved by technology so far. Here at Microsoft, we continue to build unique capabilities to deliver a secure, simple, and smart experience for your frontline workers. We want to connect them to the right information, people, and processes so that they can do their best work and address this digital deficit. And this is only the beginning of the journey. Customers like yourself, Conagra, American Airlines, are at the center of this innovation we are delivering from Microsoft. Your feedback, ideas, and collaboration continue to inspire us to raise the bar and help shape Microsoft Teams to better serve you. Now let's see who gets this free pass for the Microsoft 365 conference in Orlando. All right, it's cool. Please make sure to collect your prize before you leave this room. And thank you again for joining us at Ignite today. Please use these resources to learn more about Microsoft Teams and how this entire platform can empower your frontline workforce today. Thank you.